Hello guys and welcome to Talk About It Thursday with Bree. I'm so excited to announce that now there's a Talk About It Thursday group. So after Talk About It Thursday episodes, now you can go to a specific group that is a private group and you can share your thoughts, your journey, and what you learned from these videos. So we can start a community of people that are along their self-development, self-awareness, and spiritual growth journeys. Let's move together and create a world with more understanding, love, and peace. So for today's episode, we're going to be talking about how, I'm just going to say it, how assholes create assholes, or how bullies create bullies, or how bad situations create, I don't want to say bad people, but you get what I'm saying. It's the energy that is being created that creates the outcome of that energy also. So it's very, very easy for people to behave out of douchebagginess when they're in a bad situation. So it's really easy for someone to act out of anger when they're in that energy of anger, right? It's easy for people to act out of sadness and these heavy emotions when they're in an environment, when their mind is full of those types of things, right? So when there's a bad situation or a sad situation or something that is not so light, people will behave in that way. And it's easy to behave in that way because there's such a pattern of that frequency. So it's easy to act and to think out of that. So when you're in that gray cloud, when you're in that situation, when you're in that gray cloud, a lot of times you cannot see past the gray cloud. It's a fog that is blinding us. So what we're doing now is trying to see past and through that fog to get to a place that we've never been before. To break out of this feeling, to break out of this heaviness, to break out of this darkness that we're in, right? So how do we do that? So first of all, it's going to take a powerful mind. It's going to take a powerful spirit and an open heart to do this because you're going to have to take a journey that maybe others around you are not seeing yet or are not willing to take yet. So first off, you're going to be what I will call a warrior, right? Because you are going to have to endure a lot of things, maybe by yourself for a while, until you've accumulated enough energy to attract others that are on the same path as you. So first off, you're going to have a strong mind and a strong spirit. Because you are going to be tested to see if you're ready for those next big invitations into life, right? You're going to be tested. There's going to be trials and tests to see if you're ready to even receive that beautiful, welcoming new life that you've always dreamt of and wanted. And the way that you will be tested, let's say, let's say a test could be something like you're in an argument, and it's very easy to spit fire and to spit words and to spit the anger because you're already in that energy, right? But the person with the strong mind, the strong heart, and the self-control is going to be willing and able to see past the anger and to see the solution, to see what the other person is feeling, to see how they are feeling, and to see the best way to handle the situation so that both people can move on past this frequency and operate in another one. So the test is this. Are you going to stay and be in the frequency and argue and move and say and behave in this vibe? Or will you be able to have the consciousness, the awareness, the ability to tap in and see this issue from a bigger, broader perspective that's going to allow you to have more of a welcoming consciousness to be able to solve this problem in a more expansive, broader, and compassionate way. This will make sense when you're in the moment, and maybe once you reflect, if you've ever gone, like if you're going through something like this, you might have made your decision and behaved, but once you look back and you reflect on it, you will understand what I'm saying if this has not happened to you yet. If this kind of experience has happened to you, then you will be able to relate to what I'm saying, and you know what I'm talking about. When situations and life happens where that it brings you that cloudiness, it brings you the gray, it brings you the darkness, it brings you the heaviness. This is our test to be able to move up and beyond this. It'll take self-accountability, self-responsibility, and focus to keep moving, to keep creating energy in the opposite direction that you're in now. And there's going to be resistance there because that's just the way, if it's stagnant energy that's been there for a long time, it's going to take a little bit of energy for you to move out of it because you're such in a momentum, you're such in a repetitive, strong energy, like such an old energy that's been there for so long that it's very strong. So in order for you to get out of that tornado, it's going to take some pulling energy of the opposite direction to get out, and it could be difficult. But this is where your self-accountability, responsibility comes in, because you are the only one that's going to be able to get yourself out of the situation, get yourself out of this vibe. You're going to have to say, this is what I want, and this is what I'm going to do to get it. And it all comes down to self. What can I do about this? What am I going to do about this? And like I said, it may be a lonely journey for a little bit, because when you start, the environment that you're in is not going to be the one that's like immediately supportive of what you're doing, because you've already created something in another realm. But if you know the story of the lotus grows out of the mud. So no matter how heavy, no matter how sticky the environment is, the flower is still able to grow, no matter which environment it's in, because it has so much awareness already that it can move past and beyond, and it uses what's around it. It uses all the energy, because energy is energy, whether good or bad. You can use the energy of whatever is around you to transmute and transcend it to something else. And over time, you're going to begin to change, and people will notice it. And the thing is, we always lead by example, never by word. So I am saying these things now, but truly, the way that I'm actually leading is by my way of life, by my way of action. See, because when you start to gather what you really want, people will notice and see that, and they're going to say, what did they do to achieve these things? So your gift also is not just to yourself, but to the people around you. Because the more that you create and cultivate what you desire, you empower others to do the same. Now, and this is another thing, you will not immediately be supported by the people that you really want to support you immediately, because maybe they're not ready and willing and able to support you and cheer you on and motivate you, because they themselves, they cannot do it for themselves yet. So it's going to take time. This is what I mean by it's going to take strength and resilience, and you're going to have to be a warrior for a little bit, because when you are the one that is changing things, it'll take time to start accumulating. And remember that it's always easier, I see that it's always easier for people to put you down than it is to bring someone up, especially if you're in an environment where people themselves are not able to lift themselves up. It's going to be hard for them to lift others up. And you have to remember that you and I, we're not always at that place where we could always just give compliments and raise people up. It's a journey. It's a self-development journey. So it's going to take time and work. So remember that even though someone isn't able to support you right away, maybe along the line, you're going to start seeing them grow. And just because they weren't able to support you doesn't mean you can't support them. Just because they didn't help you grow doesn't mean you can't help them. When someone harms you, it doesn't give you permission to harm them back. It is okay to disagree with them when they feed you that negative energy or when they try to feed you the garbage. But that doesn't mean that you have to consume what it is this gray cloud is giving you. It doesn't mean you have to consume that sadness. It doesn't mean you have to consume that anger. It doesn't mean you have to consume that frustration. You can say, okay, this is happening. What can I do next what can I do to move forward? How can I embrace this experience and learn something from it? How can I embrace this experience and come out of this stronger, better, wiser? Or the situation's going to consume you, and they will use you and your energy because you have not yet been able to create that protective environment for yourself. So remember, when hard times arrive, it is just a test. It is just a test to see who you really are. And you know that you are a strong spirit, a strong soul. Let that prevail. And let that be the way that you experience your life. When you do this for yourselves, you allow others to do the same. And this is the work of a light worker. So with that said, when we are in the gray clouds, we have to either be able to move past it or it'll consume us. We have to have the resilience and the focus and the responsibility and accountability to use what it is that we have to get through it and to not harm others along the way just because we are in the gray cloud. And having the mentality of, oh, because I'm in misery, I'm going to bring you down too. Because what you're doing is you're creating more of that energy to come back to you. If you want to achieve something that you've never had before, the saying is you have to do things that you've never done before. This is something that my guides have said to me. This is something that I'm going to be able to share with you. So thank you for listening. If this has helped you in any way, please share this video. If you have something of growth and inspiration or some way that you've gotten through a situation like this and you like to share it to help others, join my new group. Join our new community. And I will see you next Thursday.